Scotland fans, were you robbed of a penalty in that loss against Morocco? Get in touch, 03717 223344. This is the Weekend World Cup Breakfast, live on talkSPORT. Cass, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Worked a bit this week, so on games commentary, which was great fun. But obviously, like you, watching Paraguay take on Turkey, and we obviously the earlier game of Scotland taking on Morocco, which I always knew. We knew that Morocco and Brazil were going to be the best two teams in that group, and Scotland have had to play the first of, Brazil or Morocco. They've played Morocco and they've lost. I'm not surprised. I don't think many Scottish fans are either.
Yeah.
They've still got a chance. They've still got a chance of getting there.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, let's start with that game between Scotland and Morocco, shall we? The Tartan Army knockout hopes suffered a slight blow, but still a chance. They conceded after just 70 seconds to fall to a World Cup defeat, thanks to a goal from Bayern Munich's Ismail Saibari. Both John McGinn and Scott McTominay, we're going to get into this, looked like they were fouled in the box, but the referee and VAR waved play on. After the game, Steve Clarke said he felt his side were unlucky not to get a penalty.
I've got to be honest, everyone in the flash area where I did my interviews were talking about the Scott McTominay one. That's the only one I didn't watch back because I don't get much time. I've got to come out and speak to you guys. I thought the John McGinn one is a 50-50. Some will give it, and I think if the referee gives it, the VAR doesn't overturn it. So I can only speak on that one. I was a little bit 50-50 as well on the Shea Adams last man. He's got a chance to go through one-on-one with the goalkeeper and he gets brought down, and again the referee chooses yellow and VAR backs the referee. But listen, there's nothing we can do about that.
Steve Clarke there speaking about those two penalty shouts for Scott McTominay and John McGinn. Cass, do you think that Scotland were robbed of a potential penalty?
I wouldn't say robbed when they're 50-50 decisions. I think Steve will be, and rightly so, gutted that he didn't get one of them. I think the block on Shea Adams was one that easily, again, it's a 50-50. They've just been on the end of two poor decisions. Were they the better team in the game? No. Has Morocco proved what we already knew, that they were a really good side and a dangerous side in that? But yeah, of course it'd be disappointing. When you lose 50-50s, you're upset anyway. Yeah. But if you have two of them, I didn't think the Scott McTominay one incident was, which he talked about there, I didn't think that was a penalty. So, look, decisions just go against you at times. You have to take it on the chin. And I think Steve will move on very quickly from it.
Yeah.
You'd be gutted as a fan of Scotland, as a player you would be, that you didn't get that type of decision.
I agree. I think the Scott McTominay one was innocuous, but I do think that the John McGinn one was a foul. I think you see that get given a lot. But after the dust settles on this, you mentioned the fans there, Cass. After the dust settles and the initial disappointment of losing, once that's gone, do you think that the fans will feel positive about the fact that even after they conceded after 70 seconds, they've only lost 1-0 against a side who we know are absolutely tip-top?
Really dangerous.
So surely there's reasons to be positive there.
Of course, Scott, Max. Of course, Max, you have to be positive because you haven't got time to be disappointed.
Yeah.
After the next game, if you lose, you're going home. Okay? It's that sudden. I remember leaving the World Cup and two of them going there. And when you leave, it's like, pack up, we're going home tomorrow. And it's as straightforward as that. So you have to really focus on what you need to do against Brazil, how you can get a result, and move away quickly from what's just happened. World Cups don't give you time to start thinking and feeling sorry for yourself or how disappointed. You're straight on to the next game.
Heads up, Tartan Army. Big game against Brazil. You, of course, got history in the tournament. But as it stands, Scotland, and of course, this is as it stands, they will go through as one of those 8 best third-place finishers. And as it stands, Cass would take on Germany in the first knockout round. That's a great tie if it happens.
Yeah, well, look, if Scotland do get through and they manage it because of the way, it's been done this year as in the World Cup, that you can get through as one of the third place teams that just done enough, because they haven't been hammered, have they? They've lost 1-0 and they've won 1-0. So, yeah, they've got a chance of that. But you still try and go after Brazil and get something out of the game.
Strange decision from Steve Clarke for me, and we don't know the full context about fitness, etc. Bringing on Lyndon Dykes. instead of Lawrence Shankland, who we know has been unbelievable goal scoring form. Ben Fletcher is a proud sort of man of Scots heritage.
Yeah.
Just come off air. He wasn't particularly happy with Lyndon Dykes and how he performed. It is a strange one from Steve Clarke, isn't it?
I don't know why Steve. Look, he started, so yes, you could make the point. Well, Lawrence Shankland started in the first game against Haiti, and then with a substitution, he chose to go Lyndon Dykes coming on instead. Now, whatever reason that is, we don't know. He might think, I'll tell you what, I'll keep Lawrence Shankland for the game against Brazil. We don't know if that will be the outcome.
But when you know you've got, you can secure your place in the knockout rounds with a point against Morocco, why would he hold him back? If he's
I don't think he's holding him back. I think there's a little bit. Look, I played with Steve at Chelsea, okay? And Steve's very conservative in the way he thinks.
Okay.
And I said to you last week, he never gets too high and he never gets too low. Okay, so that's a good thing. So Steve is always thinking about maybes that could happen that give him a chance. And it served him really well being that type of manager for Scotland. And I think he'll look at the Morocco game and then going into the Brazil game in a similar fashion. I don't think it's any more than... I don't think Steve just gone your drop to think he might have just looked at Morocco and thought, I don't really need a leader of the line against Morocco because of their high intensity. We're never going to get players to join very quickly. And some might go, well, that's wrong. You need a player that can do that. I just think he might have a little bit of a bigger picture in his mind as well, because they could quite easily, as you said, be one of the third teams in their groups that get through.
Yeah.
You don't want to get beat 4-0 with, or 3-0 and then definitely be out.
Good point. It's a good point. And that conservative approach maybe in the long run.
And I think that served him well. He's a conservative guy. I know him from 1992 when I was with him, and Steve has always been that way. And look, he's had a long, successful management career. He's had his ups and downs in that as well. Mm-hmm. But his thinking has got him to where he is today.
Yeah, without a doubt. We can't really question Steve Clarke for what he's achieved with this Scotland side, making history in so many different ways. And I'm delighted, Cass, we've got some special guests coming up here. Tom and Luke Stoltman are the world's strongest brothers, and they've been doing some amazing stuff on social media and in the weightlifting world, including playing head tennis. I saw this a little bit earlier on over some mad bar. I think that you throw not kettlebell, but like those big heavy balls.
Yeah.
And the fact that they can head it over that, the neck strength, certainly not something I've got, impressed me no end. Now, ahead of the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games kicking off next month, the record-breaking duo have been sharing their world-class expertise, helping the next generation of strong men on the globe. Tom and Luke Stoltman, very good morning, boys. Thanks for joining us.
All right,
Good morning.
Luke.
Morning.
I was going to first question, who's the strongest?
Of course, it's Tom, me. Big Tom is the strongest, I must say.
Tell us how this came about. Tom, I'll ask you first. How this come about that the pair of you have just done so well? Have you basically been training together for a number of years, even since young lads?
Yeah, I mean, Luke's 10 years my senior, so Luke got into it first, and then he showed me the direction to the gym, and started at 16, 17 years old. Watched Luke for a while before I started doing strongman, and took it like a duck took to water. Got addicted. Luke took me under his wing, and ever since then we've just been training and lifting rocks, pulling trucks, and competing around the world. So it's been fun.
Oh, we love it. Now it's interesting because me and Cass initially thought you were going to be in the studio, and seeing you boys now, I'm actually happy that you're not. And I mean that with the best intentions. Look, talk to us about Scotland, because I imagine you've maybe been up all night long. You might have had a little kip. What do you make of, just generally? We'll get to the game in a minute, but generally the Tartan Army have been the cherry on top of this World Cup. Just so impressive, and seeing what it means to those fans.
Yeah, I mean, it's history, isn't it? And they're making the most of it. There's thousands and thousands of fans out there. The fan zones are filled. The national anthem getting sung everywhere in the world, and also in the stadiums as well. But yeah, the Scotland fans are the best fans in the world. I think they drank Boston dry as well, didn't they? So,
yeah.
Win, lose or draw, they know how to party. So.
I think it was they drank 3 times more in Boston than they do on St Patrick's Day. And of course, we know about the Irish connections to Boston. That is no mean feat, let me tell you. So yeah, impressive stuff from the Tartan Army. What do you watch the game last night? What did you make? I mean, after 70 seconds, you must have been thinking this could be our worst nightmare. But I think there's reason to be positive about the fact that Scotland just managed to keep it that way. And as Cass has just mentioned, goal difference could be a massive thing. So I think there's plenty of positives to take from it, even though you lost.
Yeah, I mean, Morocco, a very good signing. I mean, the worst possible start you could have. But yeah, I thought maybe Morocco might have kicked on and done 2, 3 or 4, but fair play to Scotland. They held their heads, got themselves together, and for the rest of the game were quite tight. I think maybe should have been maybe a penalty with John McGinn.
I agree.
And then that could have changed the game as well. But, if you don't get out, it's on to Brazil now, but we need to keep the goal difference down because there's third place playoffs to get in as well, and hopefully we get into that. But yeah, it was a good game in the end, but lucky there was not much more damage after the 1-0. So
I'll tell you what's really nice, what I like about the Scotland team is I just like the character of the side, where I just think whatever you get, you're going to get a sweat, blood and tears from them. They're going to give absolutely everything in a really nice, good way. They were a very likeable team to, the group of players that obviously Steve Clarke's got.
yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, if they all come together individually, they're good, but as a team, that's the most important part, and that's how you win a football game. And I think, Andy Robertson, good leader. You got obviously John McGinn. Sorry, how do I forget John McGinn, Scott McTominay, all these guys, they're all leaders, but they can all link up good. So, like I said, hopefully going on to the Brazil game, they get this out their system quickly and give Brazil a run for the money, because a draw against Brazil or even a win would be unbelievable, and I think that would see them through, and that would be a party and a half then.
Yeah, it would be. I've got a feeling that you really can. Brazil aren't what we know they can be, and I know they've beaten Haiti 3-0, but I don't necessarily think that reflects the team they are. I'm backing Scotland to get something out of that game and really book themselves into the next round.
At the moment, they're on a 0 goal difference.
Yeah.
So it's a really good advantage over all the others that will finish third.
Yeah, no, without a doubt.
Even if they get beaten 1-0, it's only going to be -1. So they're still not in a bad position, Scotland.
Yeah, no. Now look, mate. We've sort of gone over how you and your brother got into the gym, following in his footsteps. But also, we understand you've been helping out Team Scotland's rising powerlifting star Finn Davidson. So you got your fingers in so many pies. How's that been?
Yeah, I mean, that was quite cool. I mean, Finn Davidson, Commonwealth Games, powerlifter, like you said, and it was unbelievable to him to come up to the gym. And I think he's 58 kilograms and he can bench press 3 times his body weight. So I think he can bench press about 160 kilograms. And the difference with them, they get tied in.
Yeah.
Obviously, they don't have any straps on, no leg power, so it's all just pure raw strength. And it's going to be the first. It's going to be the first event at the games as well, and I think that's the first ever time there's been a powerlifting first event, medal event at the games as well. So yeah, it's going to be unbelievable. He looks very good to get a medal, so fingers crossed for him, and the whole Scottish team looks really good. So.
And for me, it feels like the whole world's talking about Scottish sport. Whether it's sort of what was happening with Celtic and Wilfred Nancy and then Martin O'Neill, Rangers as well, the Hearts almost making history. You've got the Commonwealth Games, you've got you boys, you've got Scotland and the Tartan Army. It feels like a really good time at the minute for Scottish sport.
Yeah, look, you do this, Luke.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's nice to get some recognition in Scotland. Obviously, over the last kind of decade or so, there's maybe not been a huge amount to celebrate, but we've got a lot to celebrate now. Obviously, Scotland, the World Cup, Tom myself, the Commonwealth Games coming to Glasgow. So hopefully there'll be a lot of medals in the Commonwealth Games. Hopefully Scotland will get out of the group, and hopefully Big Tommy and myself will come back next year and smash strongman like we always do.
I can remember the strongman. I actually did an event with the guy he was a Scandinavian. He used to pull the trucks with his teeth. Luke, do you remember? He used to pull the truck with his teeth. Put that gum shield in and pull a truck.
That's Sven Carlson. Or
is that his name? Yeah.
Might have been Sven. He was a bit of a maniac.
No, he was. He definitely, and he was telling us all the injuries that he occurred. Because obviously with you guys, you're pushing your body limit, aren't you?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we're kind of going there, 100% every time we train, every time we compete, and that's why. Tom and I are great advocates of recovery. I unfortunately broke my leg about 12 weeks ago, not through a strongman incident, but jumping in some low tide in the sea. I snapped my fibula. So not the best, guys.
Well, did you just snap it back while you was in the sea and get out?
I just took it off. I just walked it off. It's fine now.
You guys are something else.
Oh, boys, absolutely brilliant stuff. Thank you so much for joining us. And make sure you follow Tom and Luke Stoltman, the world's strongest brothers. Me and Cass relieved that they weren't in the studio. Hunking great lumps, those two boys, aren't they? Top chat, brilliant stuff. Off the back of that as well, Scotland fans, the lines are open. 03717223344. Give us a ring this morning. Were you denied a penalty? I think that John McGinn, that was a stonewall penalty, but Steve Clarke nice and calm about it. You still got that game against Brazil. I'm convinced you can get something from that.